What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course for Friday, June 7th, the first Friday of the month. That means it's time for the Patron Picks episode. And the air conditioner just turned on, so we know we're doing something right. I bet my wife did that. She didn't do it on purpose, though. So let me get that turned off while everybody comes on into the class. Grab a seat down front. We're going to have to figure out a solution to that. Because I don't think she's going to live her life in the summer on the Fridays. Well, we got that going on. All right. How's it going, everybody? You see my new hat that I'm rocking? Welcome to Friday again. Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. Very special episode we got going on. Who do we got in the chat? Hello from New Hampshire. Greetings from the UK. Very good. Let's see. Phoenix, Arizona. What's up? Birmingham, Alabama. Lots of people coming in. Very cool. The AC isn't all that bad on audio. Oh, okay. That's good to know. If we get pushback, then we may have to go that route. Anyway, I am Josh Nass, KI6NAZ. This is the first of the month. This is the Patron Picks episode where the topic is picked entirely by the patrons. I do have some stuff to get clear up in the front here. So real quick, we are doing... Where is my linky link? We are doing a BridgeCom giveaway. Doing a giveaway for an Anytone ATD878UV Plus Bluetooth. And that is going to be the first Friday of July. We're going to give that away live on the stream. And that is going to be the radio and their university that they do, which is pretty cool. And all you got to do is enter your full name, email, and your amateur radio call sign, and you'll get added to that. And they said there's already a pretty good amount of people joining, so that's very, very cool. So thank you guys for doing that. I'm wearing this hat, and I haven't seen him in the chat yet. I saw him earlier, actually. So this is actually... we're having a live stream not too long ago, and Bruce was saying his daughter, Rochelle, likes getting hats, and a Discord user sent me this hat, which is a pretty rare Yaesu 40th anniversary hat. Yaesu got started in 1956, so you do the math on that one. And so I put a little message on there. You can't see that, can you at all? No, you can't. I put a message on it there. Come on now, buddy. There we go. So anyway, that's going out to Rochelle. That's very cool, and I'm glad that that they did that. So we'll talk about it on the live chat after the stream, which is going to be on Discord. If you're interested in that, check the link in the description, and we will be doing a voice chat after. We got a good amount of people. Last year, I think last time it was like 30-something people all in there talking about ham radio stuff. It goes way broader than that, though, so... Could be a little adult themes. Keep that in mind. We try to keep this PG for the live stream, but that's out of my hands for sure. So back to the web really quick. Let me show you another thing we got going on. So Ham Radio Outlet, they just dropped the FT3DR. They're taking sales. It's not in stock yet. Otherwise, these guys would be little check marks. So it's out. That's the street price, $519.95. I don't know what's going to happen with that price. I assume, much like the ICOM 7300, that maybe things will get a coupon and it may drop in price in the future, which would be interesting. So make sure you follow that if you're interested. And I got a question on the Facebook. This is something I figured I'd do really quickly before we get into the show. I got a comment on the Facebook side. A lot of really good comments, but I figured I'd answer it directly, and I think it's interesting to a lot of people on the stream. So Joe says, okay, all, I'm a newly upgraded general looking to get into HF. I have narrowed my radio choices down to the Yaesu 891 or the Zaiju XG. And I should correct myself. It's not pronounced Zaiju, but it's Seiju? I think it's Seiju? Seiju. Anyway, Seiju is how you pronounce that. Good luck with me remembering that. I want some portability as a field radio, and I don't want to spend too much more at this point. I have also narrowed down the antenna to the Chameleon MCOM 2, or the CU, and unknown yet for FT891 due to the lack of a tuner. I have limited space for a large antenna and wanted to keep things portable. The CU is nearly winning at the moment due to features, but 20 watts seems low and isn't high quality as the ASU. So all of those comments are exactly on point. Am I going to regret 20 watts, or does the waterfall and tuner offset this? Any insight one way or the other is appreciated. Help me finally make a choice. 7-3. So this is a great question. And the reality is that I've always said, you don't really want your first HF radio to be a QRP radio. Now, I know this is a 20 watt output radio, which puts it 20 watts over a QRP radio. Let me adjust that a little bit. There you go. So I guess she has some wiggle room there. The reality is a 100-watt radio is one S unit basically more powerful than a QRP radio. That's not actually that much. Appreciate, though, you're going to have an easier time with a 100-watt radio. I like to recommend people pick up a 7300 for that screen, so I am at odds here because the 891 has no screen, no tuner. The G90 has a screen, has a tuner, and a pretty good tuner at that. So it's kind of a toss-up. I want to go to the 891 because of the quality. I don't think you'll have to mess around with it at all, which is good. I will comment too on the Chameleon MCOM really quickly. Let me go back to the overhead here. So this is the MCOM 3. And that got washed out. The MCOM 3 here, which comes with a wire winder and a box, and it's actually 2 sets of wires for the radiating element and a radial. And that's a good option too if you want to go that route. So yeah, I'm at odds. I think you'd be well suited with either, but I would give the kind of turn to the Yaesu. So anyway, wanted to say that. So yeah, okay. Well, thanks for asking that question, and I do want to pick up questions every once in a while on Facebook and then get them here on the stream. So I do appreciate that. Anyway, 144 people watching. I appreciate it. We're going to get into the topic at hand, which is how do you know your antenna is working? How do you know your radio is working when you're getting started out? And it doesn't have to be an HF radio. It doesn't have to be an HT or a mobile. A lot of what I'm going to say is going to work with lots of different stuff. So let's flip it over here. I'm going to go, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring up the slides. That's not the slides. Why does it keep doing that to me? Well, that's interesting. There we go. There are the slides. Let me stand up too because I need to move out of the way so I can operate this whole thing livey style. Okay, that'll work. So something like that. Before we get started though, I do need a beer because it is hot in here. And today I have the Karl Strauss Rec Alley Imperial Stout. So let's get her opened. I screwed that one all up. G90 should have had a USB port. Missed opportunity. Yeah, so I just put out, this is also a side note, I just put out my newsletter for the month that goes to the patrons. It's $1 to get the newsletter, basically. Woo. And that newsletter, I talk about the Baofengification, or the potential Baofengification of HF radio. And I do talk about the next big step, I think, is going to be QRP radio manufacturers acknowledging the reality of USB interfaces and going towards that. I think that's going to be a major step kind of forward. Is the next person that does that is going to be kind of the next hot radio, I think. Also, if they can get it all internal, that's going to be a big thing. So anyway, cheers. Let's try this bad boy. Somebody asked if do I drink mead. Do you drink meads? I not only drink meads, I make meads. In fact, some of my first videos that got some level of popularity was on mead. So I love mead. Mead's great. But I do like dry mead, incredibly dry mead, not sweet mead. I haven't seen any of the admins come in. I want to remind people, Discord After Chat, the link is in the description. And if you haven't already, please join the Facebook group. But if any of the admins hop in, they'll post the link in a little bit too. So, okay. Is this thing on? My slides certainly aren't. Where are my slides? There they are. Okay, before going any further, you need to check if you have a radio and you don't know that it is operating. The best way to check that it's working is use another radio. That's probably going to be the easiest way. For those that have 2 HTs, for those that have a friend with an HT, if you have an HF radio, checking it against them is going to be the easiest way, and that means transmit and receive. So as a demonstration of that, I've got the SDR play here. I did not tune yet to 2 meters. I'll do that right now. Woo! My freaking ears. Hopefully that's not too loud. And let's say I had this guy. So I've got this Yaesu. And the first thing I want to do is check if I'm working on Simplex, which is 146.520. So I would just key up. Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu, doing a radio check here through my SDR. Okay, and that was successful. So as easy as that. That's pretty easy as far as how to check to see if your radio is working. So keep that in mind. All right. All right. Again, my slides disappeared. I almost need another screen now, which is funny. Okay, but what if it's your first radio? And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. If it's your first radio and you've never really used radio and you don't really have a club, otherwise you'd probably go to the club and ask them, right? So I'm going to try and help you guide you through this a bit so you can kind of do this on your own. And it's not that difficult. So first thing, for HTs, I generally say it's not the antenna. The antenna is usually not the problem. If you're buying a commercial antenna like this, commercial, you know, as much as Signal Stick is, it's a boutique antenna. It's generally not the antenna. The antennas are generally going to work. So it's likely, hey, Talaco, very nice name. Hamcom 2019 tomorrow. Nice. So anybody going to Hamcom? If anybody's going, mention in the chat. Oh, you didn't hear the audio? Well, I'm going to make sure. You didn't hear that? You can't hear that right now? That white noise all around me? Everybody hearing that? Well. Oh, okay. So there's Zach. Zach made it. Thank you, buddy. I'll go ahead and stop that. Thanks for checking there. Oh, very low. I see. So my audio output to my headphones is louder than my audio that's going to the stream. Sorry about that. So you've got your HT. It's often not the antenna. It's almost always the programming I've found. People open it up, they take it out of the box, and they go, I need to immediately get on the local repeater or the popular repeater. And so they take it out and they start programming on it. It's almost never that, right? It's almost always something... No, I'm sorry. It almost always is the repeater programming. It's never the antenna or anything else. And we'll talk a little bit about repeaters in a second. But anyway, one of the first things to do is focus on your receive side. I like tuning up something simple like weather. So this is the weather frequency 162.550 to me. Obviously, this is not 2 meter amateur. It's not amateur radio frequencies, but you know that the radio is at least working on the receive side. So that's pretty good. Once you have that, you're like, okay. Then you want to try and work Simplex, which is kind of what I did earlier, which, again, I'll crank the volume up a little bit so you can hear. Let's do that. I don't want it too loud, though, because it looks really loud. So on the SDR play... Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu radio check on Simplex. I'm not really going to hear anybody back because there's not that many people around me and I'm on a whip. If I was on my rooftop antenna, then I would get out a lot better. But very good. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that. I'm glad you could hear me. Okay. So then you try and work Simplex. call CQ if you can, but sometimes you're going to be in an area where there's just not that much actual Simplex users. And that's a real thing. I didn't realize that really until I got to Hamvention. And people were like, wow, there's so much Simplex discussions going on. It's, I mean, sure, you cram like 30,000 hams into one area, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of Simplex, which you would expect. That makes sense. But in my area, my hometown in Cerritos, California, all of Southern California, really, there is a lot of Simplex. So if you can, if you live in an area that has a lot of Simplex, that's a good thing to use to start there as well. And that's just no offset, no PL tones. That's 146.520. I use 2 meters. That's generally where the action is. I know there is a 70 centimeter Simplex channel that you can use, or frequency, but I find that there's very little life there. Again, your mileage will vary, so you can check that out. Say no to Kilo says that no, whether I tried to listen it without an antenna, just no with NMO mount. Yeah, you've got a couple of frequencies for weather in your area, and you just need to find the right one, and then just remember that. Weather frequencies are really good to just kind of maybe leave programmed on your radio if you have a radio that will allow it. And you can have good information, but you can also check to make sure your radio is working. Now, once you have Simplex working, Flanicia Merritt. Hey, Flanicia. I hope I'm saying your name right. Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. So now you've got Simplex working. You've got receive working. The radio is basically a radio at this point. Now, I'm really only covering analog here. I have another video if you want to set up DMR or Yaesu System Fusion, and I'll add that to the card so you can check that out. But then you want to program a repeater. Now, generally for repeaters, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to be... Oh, I always forget this antenna is that big. There we go. So with the repeater, APRS right into no antenna. You're going to need a tone, right? In this case, this one doesn't have the tone on. Where is it? Oh, I know why. There we go. Let me put that antenna back on so he doesn't transmit. So here's one repeater, 146.175 with a tone of 156.7 and a offset of plus. So generally for analog repeaters, you're going to need to have an offset, plus or minus, up 5 or down 5, or up 6 or down 6, depending on if you're on 2 meters, or, yeah, that was 435, or if you are, that's going to make me laugh, or you are on 70 centimeters. And then there'll also be a PL tone. Now, what a PL tone is it is a tone that when you key up is the right hertz to open up the record side of the repeater, and then able to then transmit, amplify, and transmit down to everybody that's listening on the other frequency. So there's the key up talk in frequency, and then the downlink or transmit other frequency, which is up 5 or down 5, depending on where you're at. And that's basically how you get into a repeater. So you need to focus on the offset and the PL tone. And that's all online. I've got other videos for that, like how to find repeaters to use. Repeater book, Broadcastify, to name a few, but there are more. Anyway, you get the idea, hopefully. So HT is continued. I want to mention this because it comes up all the time. The distance from the repeater that you want to talk to is crucial. The reason it's crucial is because at some point, even though you are within a certain mileage of the repeater, you're not going to be able to make it. Case in point, everything that's in this green area is technically in the space of the repeater, except for right here. This white little patch, nothing. It's a null zone. This white area right here, that's the 91 freeway. As you're going from Anaheim to Corona, California, that white area totally nulls out the repeater. You can't make it. And then there's just some cases where the repeater's just not up high enough, or there's not enough power, right? And, hey, Franklin Lewis. Uh-oh, he's got an off-topic question, so I guess I'll answer him. Thank you for the super chat. Off-topic question. FT2DR connected to a hotspot. Connects to the hotspot fine. Can't connect to a room like AmericaLink. I can hear them until I go to key up, then nothing else. Ideas. So I've got 2 ideas. The first is that you need to be on the America Link reflector. You have to be on a reflector. If you're using the Wires X pass-through, the reason you can't hear them is because you're not it's either transmitting in analog or digital, but America Link is one of the wires rooms that requires a digital and analog connection. Okay, and that's through when you set it up as a PDN mode or direct mode or whatever you're running for the FT2DR and the FT3 and the FTM400, you have to use the analog cable and you have to use the USB for the digital connection. You have to have both for America Link. Some rooms don't require it, some do. So for you, because you're on a hotspot, you need to use the America Link reflector. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, so going back to the distance thing on the repeaters, it's going to depend, right, on whether or not you can make it to the repeater. And when by make it, you are talking about the transmit, your transmit to make it to them. You may be able to receive the repeater fine, but you may not be able to transmit into it. Some of that's going to be distance, some of that's going to be your output power, some of that's going to be your antenna. There are multiple things related to that, but I want to state basically, if you are on an HT and that repeater is a decent amount away from you, call it 20 miles or something like that, and it's high enough up, you should be able to hit it with an HT. I'll just state that. So 20 miles away, on a hill high enough, with a decent antenna, maybe even a rubber ducky antenna, you should be able to hit it. Case in point, Billy Bob, when I was at Ham Radio Outlet not too long ago, he had one of those stubby little T1 Baofengs with the little just antenna finger sticking out of it. And he was able to make a call to the top of Santiago Peak, 40 miles about as the crow flies. I think it's 30 miles as the crow flies, directly to the repeater, no problem. And you were full quieting. So it's going to depend. Okay, I can't cover all those specifics in a high-level video like this one, but maybe we can talk about that in future. In fact, I know a couple repeater owners. We should just do a video with them. Okay, so for mobiles, it's just like HTs, but now it actually could be your antenna. And so for that, when you have that kind of thing going on, there's really two ways to go. One, let me grab it. Having an analyzer is going to help you. This analyzer goes up to 2 meters. It's an AA170. Rig Expert stopped producing these. In fact, the guy, when I was at Ham Invention, said, "What's a 170? I don't remember a 170. He's like, "Oh, that's an old one. You've got one of those. You need to buy one of these Zoom models." He was nice about it, but it was pretty funny. So the reason why I don't have an AA55 Zoom, other than I want one really bad, but I just haven't bought it yet, is that the AA55 only covers the HF bands. This guy will do 2 meters, which is nice. So that's not cheap, though, right? That's $200 up to $300 for getting an analyzer, particularly one that goes up to 2 meters. So what else can you do? Well, you can get just a simple SWR power meter. This goes in between your transmitting radio and your antenna, and it gives you the readout on your SWR and your power output. So you know that if you've got a high SWR, that antenna is not matched for that frequency you're on. So it's going to take some guesswork to figure out what your, call it, bend is as far as the antenna profile. Right down here at the bottom is your low SWR, and then it goes up from there. It's going to take a while to figure that out, but you can do it. And you can plot it out by kind of going up and down in megahertz until you can see where that sweep is. So if the SDR is going down, you're likely going to the peak, and if it's going up, you're going away from the peak. So tune your antenna. With that said, a lot of the commercial antennas you buy, mobile antennas for like on your car, are not going to have major SWR problems. Let's just go ahead and turn that off. Not going to have major SWR problems. However, it's a place to look when you've kind of exhausted all the other stuff. If you can't receive anything, check your connections first. Don't assume it's the SWR or the tuning of the antenna. Check connections. Simple meter is all you need, like I said, and analyzer is going to give you a lot of confidence. The value of the analyzer is it's going to be good for HF, and that's where you're really going to need it. Okay, so that's basically HTs and mobiles. I feel like they're a bit easier to get working because your contacts are all going to generally be line of sight. You're going to be relatively close in. So you should be okay. You should be able to figure that out. That's one of the advantages as a technician, is that I feel you're generally in a target-rich environment most of the time, and it's really not that hard to set up a decent station most of the time, which is good. Now you get to HF and I lost the slides. When you get to HF, then you're gonna start to change things a little bit. So keep this in mind as we go forward. The first things first is, with HF, you're going to have to contend with your band conditions, your propagation, daytime, nighttime bands, right, etc. Technicians, you get access to 10 meters. What is it? 15, 40, and 80, but CW only. So 10 meters is a daytime band only. It really won't work that well at night, although you may find some people, if you're, by the way, field day is coming up in a couple weeks, you may find on field day there will be people relatively close by you, ground wave propagation, that will be on 10 meters. So you can make contacts on that. By the way, it's always funny. I'll give you a little field day, quick little snippet, and then I'll get back on focus. I know you'll love my little diatribes I go on, my little divergence. When you go to a club, oftentimes there's so many people, so many operators, that you can give one person a band, and every band is covered by a person and an operator, potentially even different modes on those bands, right? So you're the 10-meter guy. Fireflies, hey, Fireflies QRP, what's up? I joined their club. Check them out. Fireflies QRP. Good group of QRP. Hey, by the way, awesome newsletter. Big shout out. Awesome newsletter. I think they called it the Bug Jar. I think that's right. Love it. I've only read 2 of them because I just joined, but that is a cool newsletter you guys put together. So if you guys are interested in QRP, go check out Fireflies QRP. Very cool. Yeah, so thanks for that support there. I appreciate it. Now I totally lost my train of thought. You're the 10-meter guy, right? So you're on single sideband. Well, you're great during the day. Hopefully, you're getting some contacts. On field day, you get contacts. But then you start to get to nighttime, and you're like, oh, no. 10 meters is a daytime band. What am I going to do? Well, the answer is you just keep calling CQ. Keep calling CQ, grabbing some snacks, eating, calling CQ, grabbing some snacks, and eating, and you make it work. And you'll make contacts. You will. Because there are people out there, field day, I don't know, tens of thousands, if not 100,000 people involved in field day, active in field day. That seems like a lot. We have 700,000 licensed amateurs. 100,000 of them seems like a pretty tall order to do, but I'd like to believe that. Anyway, back to the conversation at hand. So generally, you're going to have antenna issues, right? Your SWR is going to be too high, or perhaps you've picked an antenna that is not exactly great for the band that may be hopping at that time. And you kind of have to deal with that, or you go with like a mode or multi-band antenna. The problem with those is they're kind of compromising, right? We've talked about compromised antennas before. They're not as efficient as if you just had a dipole, right? Or a vertical for just one band. The advantage with HF, and it's going to make a lot of this easier from the operating side of the house, is there's almost no programming. There's almost no programming, very little somebody's knocking on the door. You pick your mode, single sideband, CW data, and then you move forward. Okay, thank you, buddy. Close the door. Thank you. My dog joined us now. So little to no programming, which is nice. You just pick a mode, you scan around until you find activity, and then you try and call CQ or try and reply. You get the idea. But again, focus on the simple. Get the receive side going. An SDR is useful here because you can, with your SWR, figure out what's happening. So going back to that question we got earlier from Facebook, and let's say that individual went with the 891, no screen. But if you went and bought, an SDR dongle, SDR Play is not a dongle, but we can quickly hop over here. You have the same capability with the SDR, the new Elect, for example. So we can see activity already all over the place. Let's... Are we on lower sideband? Yeah, we are. There are actually like multiple signals on top of each other. Is this my Spanish station? There's my Spanish station. These guys are always talking on 40.
Juliet 4,
there he is.
Juliet Papa Victor, you're 55.
So we're using, basically, I'm using a more expensive SDR. It's a $100 SDR. But you can use a simple dongle to do the same thing. You plug it in your computer, you get a really clear idea of what is out there. So hypothetically, 7185, right? Let me go ahead and mute this guy for a second. So 7185, if we're over on my 7300 now, I don't know exactly where he's at, so we're going to try and find him. There he is. We do have a bit of, let me try and notch it out. There we go. No, we got a bit of noise in there, but the antenna works. So we are receiving, and the SDR helped to do that. Now, of course, you're still going to have to set this up correctly. So that goes back to, you need to check your SWR of your antenna. This is just an example of how to use an SDR, by the way. But to check the SWR, you're going back to my analyzer here, right? I am basically, all we're doing here, it's very simple to use these guys. So we're going to scan SWR on 40. Well, that's no good. Wait, what is this antenna? That's all kinds of bad. That NFET should have a very low tune. Something is going amiss here. Well, see, this is why you need an SDR antenna analyzer. So generally, this line is going to be your readout of the your SWR, and the kids are crying again, for the antenna. This antenna is supposed to be down to the 2-to-1, so something is going on here. And that is a good sign of checking your station. But it doesn't hurt it from being a receive antenna, so I'm going to put that back in the SWR play, or SDR play. Ooh, and you're right. It's getting hot in here. I'm going to have to figure out a solution for the summertime. I need to go buy an air conditioner, I think. Whew, it's hot. Yes, Andy Schneider. Yeah, make sure you have a meter. Again, just a simple, cheapy MFJ. Come on now, buddy. There we go. Yeah. So this is just a cheap MFJ with an antenna and transmit jack on the back, right? That's all it is. And it gives you power output and SWR. This has a max output of 300 watts. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I'm going to have to get an AC unit in the garage. This is the first day it's been hot. And it's very hot for me right now. Anyway, let's sally forth. So you got an antenna, you checked your SWR like I just did, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was a pretty high SWR. You might need a tuner. And that's okay. If you need a tuner, that's all right, particularly a multi-band antenna. If you're using a 9-to-1 UNUN, for example, then you will likely need a tuner. That 7300 right now is sitting on top of a tuner, and that's okay. You're still going to get your power out. The only time that you'd have a problem with using a tuner is when you're talking about very long transmission lines and that have potentially a high loss factor. You could lose some there, but you're not going to lose an appreciable amount unless the coax is just garbage. So anyway, so make sure you find out what your SWR is, because if you don't, your radio is going to fold back on itself and it's not going to put out any power. And if it's an older radio, you could potentially damage it. So make sure you check that. And if you need a tuner, you'll know that based on checking your SWR. Now, as far as your troubleshooting an antenna, like right now, that SWR, I've checked that thing multiple times on that NFED. So something is going on. Either there is a loose connection somewhere, maybe at the junction, the box where the capacitor box is for that half-wave NFED antenna. There could be a problem there. When I'm done here tonight, I'm going to go check that antenna, make sure the connections are good. I'm going to check the radio line. Any of that stuff is going to be a factor in your antenna issues when you have them. So keep that in mind. And of course, check your connections. Whenever you have a problem, check your connections. If it's not working the way you think it would, check your connections. Make sure you've got it tight and snug and correct. So I'll talk quickly on SWRs because or SDRs. We've been using them, beacons and WWV. Local SDRs like my SDR Play, my new Alex, the RTL SDRs, you use that to know what your antennas can hear, because they're going to show you the waterfall. They're going to give you a clear indication of what's happening on the band, and that is going to help you as far as the receive side of your radio. A web SDR is going to reinforce what can hear you, right? So case in point on web SDR. So this is the web SDR in Half Moon Bay, California. And you can, with this simple little website, if you just search web SDR, you can find, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a map of the different locations. So if you know where you're at, hopefully you know where you're at, you can basically find something local, and you can start working your way out further away, and you're going to call out on your radio and listen on the SDR side. And you should be able to hear yourself, depending on when and how far you are. So let's go to 40 meters, and let's find a space that's not too loud and see if we can get out there. So we're going to be lower sideband. So we're going to go to 7238. And if anybody wants to call on 7238, that's fine too. Okay, let's see if I can make it. Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu, CQ, CQ for Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. So I'm in there. Let me mute my mic and you can hear.
CQ for Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. CQ for Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu.
So nobody's calling me back, but what did I just prove? Well, without having to have... Oh. He's fading. I can hear somebody in there. I lost you on the SDR. I heard you for a moment. I don't know if he's actually watching the show, but... Well, we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's finish up the slides and we'll actually go back to playing around with the SDR. So local SDRs are good for knowing what you can hear, just to reiterate this, because it's really important. That's why I like those USB SDRs so much, is they give you a lot of information of what your antenna can actually do. Sure, you bought a multi-band, let's say you bought a 20, a 15, and a 10-meter multi-band antenna. That's a little odd banding, but whatever. Plug it into an SDR, see what other bands it can work on. Maybe it's good on 80 for receive, not for transmit necessarily, but try it out, right? So SDRs open up a world of doors. I personally recommend the SDR Play because you don't have to worry about the down or up conversion, which I think is pretty nice. But anyway, WebSDR, super, super, super important for hearing you, right? There's black... I can only imagine what ham radio was like when, back in the day, when you had these wild radios, tube radios, ladder fed, high impedance, and you were like burning yourself if you would touch the case, or if you got the mic too close to your mouth, you'd shock yourself. Crazy, right? Now we've got these really sensitive instruments at roughly the same price once you adjust for inflation, that we can pull up an internet website that will listen around further away than we are and tell us if we're making it or not. So amazing. Great time. I always say great time to be alive in ham radio. Good point from Fail Annex. Says, what about drift? So that's one of the advantages of using the SDR. You can see the waterfall. And I don't know if I was calling, if you could see the waterfall, this little arrow. It's not really an arrow, but right here, that's where my... Actually, wait, you're not seeing that. Hold on. So right here, this little yellow upside down U, that's where the lower sideband is monitoring. And if you can see activity on that blue ocean of waterfall, that's you. If you're talking, that's you. So, yeah. Somebody said I need to adjust my mic. I apologize. Is that better? In fact, I'll just move it right over here. Hopefully that's better. Okay. So the last thing I'll mention is WWV, and I will demonstrate that with the SDR Play. WWV is the time website that we use, the RF time. It is one of the best ways to check receivers, and I mean that across the board. I mean that for your shortwave little portable receiver like these Texsun guys, right? WWV is amazing for that. I also mean that for your HF radios. Tune into WWV with your antenna and see if you can hear them. So, let's see. Let's hop on here really quick. And let's go to... No! There we go. Okay. You get the idea. But, so that's 10. Let's go down to 5.
At the tone, 2 hours, 45 minutes.
So now we're on 5. It's the same audio. Zach's over here. The SDR's too quiet. Now he's saying he can't hear me over the SDR. My God. No, I'm just kidding. It's really deep. The bass is really deep. Carl, it is kind of complicated. Anyway, let's go to the last one. We're not going to get much on that. Nope, nope. Stop it. Nope. Okay, never mind. That will just drive everybody insane. Yeah. Where is that? I didn't even touch the EQ on this thing. I was listening to this last night, so if the bass is all screwed up, I don't know why. I'll worry about it later. But yes, so that wasn't to get you the best audio, that was to show you that you can do it. So local SDR sounds like that. And so then the last one before we did WWDV, I didn't do the CW beacon. So CW beacon, really straightforward. Let me go to the desk here. Let me get my mic turned around. And let's get on some CW. Some C-dub. Oh. I tuned on to somebody. Okay, let's get off there for a second. So, hopefully that's all right. Let me get off that now. So what we'll do in a second is check. We will check the web. So check this out. Let me go back to the website. Let's go to, when was this? 19 hours ago. Refresh. It might be too fast. We might not get picked up by anybody. And I'm pointed east, so we'll see. Is it looking for me? Who's it looking for? Doesn't matter. So while we wait, I will mention this beer is brewed with cocoa nibs and coffee beans from Bird Rock Coffee Roasters. It's a pretty, there I go. So I got picked up by W17LNW and W7TR. Those are both Seven Land locations, so I'm not getting out that far, actually, on 100 watts on CW. I could play around with it some more. I could bang away CQ until I got picked up. But that's how reverse beacon works, basically. K8MRD stuff says, yuck. Man. Mark Wilson asks, what is the radio you are using? I am using a ICOM IC7300. The pinnacle in SDR entry-level radios. Don, great point. Whisper, he says. So, I love Whisper. And if you are interested in doing digital modes, I've done some videos on Whisper and obviously FT8 and the whole world, and PSK Reporter is great for that. This is more of an entry level, just getting your radio to work in single sideband or CW. It's not necessarily meant to do the digital portion, but you get the idea. Let's see. All right. So now you've done your local SDR, your web SDR, your CW reverse beacon, and WWV for the receiver side. Friends make this easier. Yes, it's a lot easier if you have a contact with local people. Local people with radios will help you confirm your station is working. They'll often give you a sounding board if you think you have an issue, but you can talk on the radio or maybe talk on the phone and get an idea of what's going on, sort them out. So friends always help. If you don't have physical friends or a club that you are a member of, feel free to join the Ham Radio Crash Course on Facebook, join our Discord, and ask your questions there, because honestly, everybody there is so quick at answering questions. They beat me hands down. So I really appreciate the work they're doing, which is appreciated. However, I want to make a note of this because it's important. VHF, UHF, not much of a deal. But however, HF, when you start getting too close, you're not going to be able to actually be picked up by the radio. There's a point where you can be too close, and then too close to the point that you're flying over the top of them with sky propagation and what am I thinking of? Skywave. And then too far that they're not ground wave capable. So keep that in mind. That can be a sweet spot with somebody that's in there is totally going to be deaf to you. Case in point, Jerry, KG6HQD. Love the guy. I would love to be able to fix our radio problems together. But whenever we try to work each other, it doesn't matter if it's voice, CW, or digital, he can never hear me. So sometimes it's just the way it is. And I can't hear him either. I've literally been on the phone with the guy, and I can hear him talking, and I can't hear him. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, so note on power. Even, and I'm going to read this verbatim because it's important. Even if your station is working, there are times where you're just not going to make it long distance as far as QSOs go. The sad reality is the sun cycle does decrease propagation, and the thought of bad propagation scares people off the bands. And that's more likely than not. Even at 100 watts in a good antenna, you could suffer from band conditions. And that's not necessarily solar-related band conditions, but people-related band conditions. So, keep that in mind. Oh, yeah, somebody's laughing at me. Human SDRs. Hey, I use SDRs to solve all my problems. I don't need these humans. These are just human SDRs. They require friendship and talking and emotions, and I don't do that. No, thank you. Anyway, that's my talk, basically, on how to check to see if your radio is getting out. It's actually not that hard. You just kind of have to go methodically. To go back a little bit, going back, boo, boo, boo. You need to focus on all the way back. Generally, HT is not the antenna. Your programming is probably the problem. Check there. Focus on receive. Same thing. Focus on receive. Propagation is an issue. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm going to illuminate the call-ins if somebody wants to call. Hopefully we still have that set up. No, it is not. It is not set up at all. Well, that is just a sad thing. So that's okay. We won't illuminate the call-ins. I'll take some calls in the chat room while I glisten and finish my beer. So hopefully that was helpful. Sometimes. Oop. Yeah, and do take Ethan's link to go get on that DMR giveaway. 86DM. Hey, I just called CQ and your beacon, your receiver side didn't pick me up. What's up with that, buddy? I'm just kidding. I'm glistening. Yes, I am. Whew. Anyway. Let's wrap that around for my glistening. I'm just kidding. Okay, so what about 7 dB for $7? Yeah, man. FT8 in the background. Invest in. Oh, let's go back to the SDR. Thank you, Matt. I heard you. I'm gonna write this down. I'm taking notes from Matt Quince. Invest in a ductless AC unit. Done. I will do that. Thank you, sir. All right, let's hop back on the SDR. Seriously, I'm not being sarcastic. I am going to do that. Oh, there we are. Okay, so let's see. The FT3 will sell out, probably. Oh yeah, I am a lefty. I did not have an Asian parent to strap my left hand behind my back and make me do everything with my right hand like my wife did. And oddly enough, I'd say more than 50% of all the engineers I've worked with are all lefties. The Smokin' Ape is right. The FT3D will sell out. It absolutely will. And then what happens after the heat, if you will, has died down a bit? What will happen? Don't know. We will see. Rational Routines asks a very, very good question, and I should have put that in the slides. I totally forgot about mentioning this. How can I find out the PL tone someone is using? And by someone, likely you mean a repeater. Radios, like the FT2DR, will actually do a PL tone scan. And it does it when you're on a frequency for a repeater. You hit scan, and it will go through and try the PL tones and determine what the right one is. A lot of newer radios will do that. That's very helpful. Very helpful. Okay, let's get this party started here. So where are we? We got nobody on 7238. I don't hear anybody over there. My dog is in the way. She's going to get ran over. I was on the single sideband. Oh, that's a loud signal. Okay, hold on. Okay, I heard that. I heard Golf Zulu. Let me get the microphone over here. And get off of CW. Call again. CQ, CQ, CQ for Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu, CQ. The station's gone. Thank you, Jim. The Just Jim. I haven't actually watched the Orville. I don't know if you know this, Jim. The just totally random Jim I don't know. I don't get much. I don't do much other than YouTube. Making videos and posting videos and doing live streams. That's what I do with my time. There was a station that was super loud. Now they're gone. Call back. Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu, CQ, CQ, CQ for Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. I have this tendency to throw my call sign out first and then try and seek. That station was really loud on the SWR. I'm sorry I only got the latter half of your call sign. November 7 Golf Hotel Zulu. This is Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. Yeah, copy. You're about an S7. S7. We got people talking over each other. Hold on. The November 7 Golf HR station. Go ahead. Yeah, copy. You're even better now. Yeah, I've got you at an S9. S9. All right, N7GA. Sorry, did I write that down? Yeah, no, I got it. N7GHR. What's your first name? I didn't get it. Sorry again.
Yeah, it's November 7, Golf Hotel Zulu. My name is John.
All right, John. Well, thanks for calling out. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a good copy. Appreciate the contact.
Okay, Josh, I appreciate talking to you as well. KI6 NAZ, this is N7GHC 73, and you have a great evening.
All right, thank you for that. 7-3. There's another station in there. I heard them kind of over the top. Why don't you go ahead? There's somebody calling CQ. I don't know if they're calling me, but... Let's see if we can get this guy. Kilo Delta 9, Mike Kilo Whiskey. This is Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. I can barely, that's a barely copy you right now. I can get you a little bit on Half Moon Bay, and that's, I heard you can't hear me, and then it started fading. So we're doing a 7300 into the wind. I'm hearing him on the SDR. He's hearing me via YouTube. This is a whole new level of BS contact. That's fantastic. Oh, yeah, that's Connor. Hey, Connor, this is Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. You copy?
Romeo, good evening, Josh.
I'm going east. That's all I can do. That's all I've got, Captain. There was another station in there. Go ahead again. You were a really good copy. Connor's like a glass cannon. Ooh. I got a uniform. The Uniform Delta Alpha station. Go again.
Kilo 6, Uniform Delta Alpha.
Oh, very good, very good. Sounds good on my end. You're about an S7.
Yeah, 7 TKR, Kilo India 7, Tango Kilo Romeo.
Bob, go ahead. K6 UDA. Where's Bob?
I'm not copying you on my end.
Oh, okay, hold on.
You up on the Utah SDR, and you're very, very weak over there.
Okay, let me swing the beam north. Hold on. Swinging the beam. That's Connor. I've got the beam turned against him 90 degrees. So your copy went up significantly. Can you copy me now, KI6NAZ? I already tuned, but... K6 UDA, this is Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. You're a good copy down here now that I got the beam torn towards you, but can you copy me? That's a negative. Let's try the ICT station. The ICT station, go ahead. The ICT station. Who was that again? Oh. Yeah, that's Connor. Yeah, Whiskey 4 India Papa Charlie. Connor, did you copy me? Okay, hold on. Let me swing the beam over to you. He's in Virginia, so I'm going to go a little bit north. Whiskey 4 India Papa Charlie, Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. How's copy? That's rough. That's real rough.
KI6NAV, KI6NAV, K6UDA.
Bob, I hear you great, buddy. K6UDA, this is Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. Did you copy me yet? I'm on 7238.
I'm copying you on YouTube only. I can't copy you on Utah or Half Moon Bay.
Man, I am getting skunked by all the mountains around me. Maybe I just climb up to the top and do a live stream from there, and I'll really be able to kill it. I'm in the basin, the South Bay Basin, where there's mountains all around me. Not great for HF. Yeah, no, he sounds great to me, so whatever balance he's getting is good. I'm going to try and swing up to him again. Connor, sorry, you have to hold on, man. Well, we can do some contacts on the live stream.
Bravo Romeo, November 0, Papa Bravo Romeo. November 8, Yankee Oscar Hotel, NAYOH.
There's a lot of people in there. K6UDA, this is Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. Any better on the copy?
November 8, Yankee Oscar Hotel.
That's a negative from Bob. So, November 8, Yankee Oscar Hotel. Go ahead. I hear them. They can't hear me. Mick Pete says...
Josh, I'm picking you up now.
Oh. He's on an SDR maybe? K6UDA, you copy me now? Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu.
Yeah, I copy you, your Q5 here.
How are you copying me?
Yeah, your Q5, you're about an S3 here.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead and call back. I'm going to give you off my 7300.
Try to get in the right mode.
Bob, give me a shout back real fast so I can give you a signal. He lost me.
All right, Josh, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How's the signal? I can hear myself on Half Moon Bay real well.
Yeah, well, you're right next door. I got you in an S5, S5.
Okay, copy S5. Real good. Thanks, Josh. I think that's our first HF contact.
Yeah, I'm putting in the books right now. I'll get that uploaded. Okay. All right, we're going to call it here, 7-3, everybody. We're going to go to Discord, and we'll work out maybe some live contacts then. All right, so I'm going to call it here a little bit over. Hey, Tom just showed up. W5KUB. Hope you're doing good, buddy. We're just playing around here in the shack a bit. I didn't hear that call.
PKR, Kilo India 7, Tango Kilo Romeo.
That was a really good. That was okay. I'm gonna leave this going. Keep sticking around. Hold on. Let me get over to Discord. Everybody, go join Discord and we'll work out some more contacts. But that was a lot of good signals in there. We'll work some cues. Get on Discord though, because it'll make it a lot easier because I can hear you. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, I got to do the most important thing. There we go. Jeez. We would not have Patron Picks Friday if it wasn't for the patrons. So, patrons, thank you so much. Chris Ebert, Carrie Blackwell, Jason Brown, Jason Siebert, David Dancero, Danny Miller, Wesley Magyar, new patron, Franklin Lewis, Brad Snyder, Dennis Dunderdale, Garrett Larson, Jonathan Franson, AD6DM Dennis, who's in the chat earlier, the Wyoming Ham, thank you, buddy, Dennis Mickelson, George Gaiini, Andy, Kenny Miyamoto, Ron Thorson, Kenny Hall, Devin B. Hedge, Mark Chase, Raymond Cracker, Geraldo Kelso, KE8HWD, Rob, what's up, buddy? Thomas Strickland, Corey Sheldon, Brand Nadeau, Stephen Hunt, Ronald White, and the Brew Crew from my Ham Radio 2.0 glass. That was a lot of fun. Let's keep it going over on the Discord. I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate the patrons. Thank you so much. I get some of the best ideas for doing some of these shows just from polling you guys. If you want to be a part of that, take the link in the description to check out Patreon, and I'd appreciate it. Okay? I'll talk to you later. See you.